Bat music.
He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello, and welcome to another week of Bat Minute Returns, the podcast where we're... Oops, sorry, completely messed that up.
You did it, George.
Off to a great start.
Yeah, start over. You each have an outtake.
Yep. Hello, and welcome once again to Bat... Oh, sorry, I was gonna say.
You never mess this up. What's going on?
It's nervous. He's got the Mogwai boys on.
Yeah, no, it's like such big time. It's big time.
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the hottest podcast for a role model to have. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here to start and end the minute with perversion all the way, it is I, John Parker.
Oh. And speaking of sleazy perverts, we have all the way from the Mogwai Minute, George Hendricks and Neil Brown.
That would be us, and you are correct.
Hello.
That was a
We
compliment.
Perverts.
No,
That is true.
I took it as such. Absolutely.
George revels in his perversions.
I do.
He,
I lean into that skid mark.
I will put up front here as that I know we're supposed to be PG podcast, but due to the contents of this week, if people are listening with small children around, you might want to, we'll bleep as much, anything too explicit.
Or
but like,
I think you should just let them listen and then ask you interesting questions.
Yeah, I mean, we were small children when we watched this, weren't we, Niall? I say that like we watched it
Daddy
together.
wants a ball gag.
I just want to point out as well to the listeners, George requested these minutes.
with purpose.
I did. I was totally down with having some Michelle Pfeiffer minutes, but I didn't know they're going to be these minutes.
So, arguably some of the best minutes, depending what you're looking for.
well, definitely some of the most interesting ones. There is like technically those first minute. There's so much to get into. Stuff I've been looking to get into for years. So
He just can't find somebody who wants to get into it with him.
Well, wait no longer, Niall.
This is the right crew to get stuck into it with you.
Now is your time.
Yep.
it's been like literally going around like bumping into people at parties and stuff, and been like, so you know when minute 64 of Batman Returns, you know when the Penguin does this thing. What's
Like,
this
ugh, no, pervert, I'm out.
It's ruined many a relationship for him.
No. Oh, well, they weren't worth having around anyway if they weren't willing to talk about this. So.
Exactly. If you can't live your best life, Niall, then don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, this is minute 64 of Batman Returns. And minute 64, as John said earlier, begins with the Penguin sort of perving. And it ends a minute later with the Penguin just upping his perv game. Like, this guy is relentless.
King of the perv.
Mr. Penguin's Pervings or whatever. There's a new movie that's coming out.
Is that a sequel to Mr. Popper's Penguins?
I hope so. That's what I want it to be. That's exactly. It just goes in a totally dark direction.
Yeah, we already got the Riddler in Mr. Popper's Penguins, so by all
Yeah.
means, let's switch it around.
There you go.
I think it was Mr. Popper's Penguins was directed by Mark Waters as well, the Daniel Waters' brother, the guy who wrote this movie. So, oh my
God.
god,
He's the guy that directed bits of Mean Girls and
a Freaky Friday.
Everything
Freaky
is
Friday.
connected.
And then,
Yeah.
what was the sequel he directed that no one watched? I'm blanking. It was hilarious. I'll come back to me.
I don't remember if I've brought this up on the show or not yet, but I'm going to shock everyone. I have never seen Mean Girls.
What?
Why have you not done that? It's such a good movie.
I don't know. I like Tina Fey. She writes it, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's in it. Yeah,
Oh, she in it? I see. I didn't
Yeah,
even know
she
that.
wrote it, and that's kind of
She's
the
Mrs.
beginning of her
Norbury.
ascent.
Oh, of course she is. Yes, I should have known.
But anyway, actually, before we get into like what's the actual contents of the minute, there's an interesting thing that I took from the Dan Waters draft, which I was wondering if he was trying to make some sort of broader statement. In that the beginning of this scene, before the Penguin even does his whole crazed clowns and all the little speech he makes, it specifically states that he's leading the people in prayer. Like they've all got their heads bowed and their hands joined. And he's leading them in like a silent prayer. And it's just because, within American politics, it does seem to be predominantly a kind of white Christian kind of thing in the White House, really. I know, like, particularly after... I remember
all of you are looking at me like this, and I just want to say I have no truck in that whatsoever.
It's your fault.
I have no control over it, and I don't condone it.
Don't you live in the Bible Belt, George?
No, not anymore. I'm currently in the Bible Belt, but normally I live in like the liberal enclave that is Denver.
Cow country.
I remember hearing like years ago that the first thing that the Bush family did after like when 9/11 happened was that they had like a prayer in the Oval Office and stuff instead of like jumping into action as you assume you would do. But so I wonder if this is supposed to be like, the Penguin is in his ability to sort of pull the wool over the eyes of the general public. This sort of the fact that he's sort of added in a religious kind of Christian element of like, yes, this is what the big shot politicians do. This is the type of people they are. I wonder if Dan Waters was having some kind of dig, or like, what his purpose behind that actually was.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That sounds like something he would do, I think. Yeah. And it probably just felt a bit too sort of disingenuous. Like the Penguin wouldn't even care to do that, I don't think. That would be more Max Schreck's idea.
Yeah.
Like, you do this, it'll look good.
You do like the Penguin down in the sewers, though. You can't imagine him at the edge of his bed every night, like kneeling down and praying or anything. So you always wonder if he would even know what a prayer was. He's just like,
Do you think he worships like a Judeo-Christian deity, or is it like a fish god?
Fish god.
Maybe he's praying to Cthulhu.
Yes.
It was like the third actual massive twist as Cthulhu just erupts from the earth.
It's like, fight that, Batman. It's like the blue squid at the end of Watchmen.
Guys, I love this movie. It's easily my favorite Batman movie.
Yes.
It's absolutely number one, including all. In fact, I think it's my favorite thing that's ever been made with Batman. Including everything.
I would agree, but I haven't seen all the animated stuff and things. I know
I would like into that. I mean, it's funny because I've only seen this movie once.
What?
I know.
Get out of town.
It's shocking to me too because I do like all the elements in it, and I watched Batman '89. I'm not kidding, hundreds of times. I probably wore out at least 2 VHSs over the course of owning this movie as a kid. Because I remember talking about last time where we would all do, like, my brothers and sisters would like do all the voices and act it out, like Rocky Horror style, like while this movie was on.
But that makes no sense that you didn't then go on to Batman
That's
Returns.
why it was so weird, because I did see the second one and I remember liking it, but for some reason, maybe it was just I was not in that weird little obsessive, 11, 12-year-old phase. I just didn't latch onto this one the same way. So I've only seen it the one time in the theater.
Oh. Yeah, maybe '89 just came out at the perfect time for you.
Yeah, it just hit me in the giblies.
But now though, I'm assuming you rewatched it for doing this.
I did not.
Oh my
I'm coming
God.
in fresh, boys.
So do you want a recap of all the events of minutes 1 through 63?
Just remind me what happened up until now, and that'd be great.
There's a lot happened so far.
So minute 1.
Begins on a stormy night at Cobblepot Manor. No. we probably waste. We can cut and pretend we did do that, and then...
No, we'll do that, and then make it... It's going to be Patreon content.
Yes.
Catching George up on Batman Returns.
In this minute, though, we are back with the Penguin here. He triumphantly sort of walking away after announcing his mayoral intent.
And then he's approached by someone. What's the thing in the IMDb listings? They don't give her. What was the exact term they use for her again? I think they call her like campaign bimbo or something.
Yeah,
it's a really insulting name.
In the script, she's volunteer bimbo.
Oh,
which
maybe
is awful.
It's not very nice. She basically is the victim of sexual assault.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. You like. This is one of these things of like you have to kind of read her face of like what is she taking away from this, because it is full on like it is in the IMDb. Sorry, just double check. Volunteer bimbo. That's what why would you call her that? But
because she's like lending her bimbo services.
It's like rent a bimbo. Is that a thing?
No, that means she's getting paid for it. She's there on her own free will.
True. You know, you have to put in the hours. You have to do some free work to get established.
The bimbo ladder.
Yeah.
But she approaches the Penguin and refers to him as the coolest role model a young person could have, which is what?
Well, I mean, if you take him at face value, like as they're trying to present him in the media, you can kind of see that. You know, he's representing these good values and not caring about looks and things. That's a nice message, isn't it? They don't know all the weird stuff.
The thing about her though is that because she seems like. She's a kind of classically, attractive woman. She seems the type who would be like quite, would do well in life generally because she just looks like a normal person. Basically, I would have kind of assumed that like Cobblepot would have been attracting more of the weirdos and like the goths.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I think she's looking at him as her like political star to like latch herself to and like rise to the top. So she's like, okay, well, all right.
Yeah,
sure, why not?
You know what? I hadn't thought of that because I think
she's like, I've done weirder things in college.
Well, when he does what he's about to do, shall we say, she just carries on smiling and like looking in awe, and that confused me because I was like, is she just like a groupie? Is it that sort of a situation? But I think you're on.
Well, that's what it comes off as. Yeah, it comes off as a groupie, sort of like a
wants to sleep with the Penguin. Come
out
on,
of
guys.
Interest.
But does she want to sleep with him because she is totally attracted to men in power, or does she see him as a sort of like political avenue towards, like vaunting herself, like becoming a political wife or something?
Yeah.
I think it's to further her own ends. So to speak.
I feel like there has to be some sort of like ulterior motive to her interest.
She's too into the Penguin. It's weird.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, because, well, again, like, once he does what he does to her, I've always detected, though, the smile she gives him.
Which is he puts a pin on her, people. That's it.
But but I always detected there's a slight sort of strain in her smile where she's a bit sort of like, oh, okay, this is good. Like, at the end.
Awkward.
She's a little bit like, all right, I wasn't expecting that. Like, because he was just full on grabbing my boob.
That's
and
because
stuff.
she's gritting through the pain as he shoves the pin into her chest.
Well, is that what he does? Because he just kind of presses it on, and it's not a sticker. You can see the back of it. It's got a pin. But he doesn't pin it on, does he?
Yeah, that's the thing we were briefly talking, me, John, and George, when you were setting up, Neil. We briefly mentioned off mic that, like, this is a thing I've been looking to get into since I saw this as a kid. Because I never understood, like, he pulls out this thing. It's very blatantly at the back. It's just a normal badge with a pin that you would, like, lace in and then put it in a little clasp. And yet he's like, oh yeah, and all he doesn't even attempt to do that. He just flat out just sticks it on her as if it's a sticker. And then it's like, the only explanation is like, yeah, he's just stabbing her in the boob with a little pin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's just movie magic. They obviously, I mean, for the purposes of the movie, they just need it to be nice and simple and easy, right? But then why not just make it a sticker? Why not just put like a little sticky thing on the back?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're having it the metal pin, but you see that sometimes in other movies where they'll take like something that's obviously like a pressed pin with a back and just like place it on somebody like there's like a hook into their shirt or something, and it's like it's just movie shorthand, but it always looks weird, which I wish they would just stop.
Yeah,
don't use a pin as a moment of connection if you don't have the time to actually have somebody fumble and put it on.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't object to it just being a sticker. I've seen people wear stickers just on their clothes, like because it's a temporary thing. That's fine.
Yeah, they voted.
Think back then, though, it would have been a pin badge like this. I don't think they would have had stickers. And
sticker technology hadn't come that far then.
Not then. And I think that you can actually buy these on eBay and such. So they must have just made a bunch. I mean, when you look at the actual set they've got here, this office, there's a ton of paraphernalia. So they must have just rolled off hundreds of these badges.
Yeah.
So I think when you see it from behind, it's an actual one of the kind of hundreds and hundreds that they rolled out. And then when you see him press it on, that I then think is a specific made item for this purpose.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe he just like does he ever take his finger off of it? You just put it on there and then he just holds it and then they cut away, right?
Well, you get a little squeeze, then he cuts away.
I mean, I think part of it is like he just wants an excuse to touch her specifically in the boobial region.
Okay.
I just wonder if he had any backup plans. If she already had a button, was he going to be like, "Oh, I got like something else"?
Oh,
that I
you need a new one. Let's get you that upgraded version.
Yeah, the printing
With
on
the
this one is terrible.
Let's get you the sticky. Oh, he does let go of it, so he somehow he gets it on her. I guess there's double-sided tape on it.
Oh yeah, it's on there. He puts it on. Did you guys find out who did the artwork on it?
No. Do you have any idea?
That sounds like Neil did.
No, I didn't. I tried. I tried.
It's a Mondo.
It looks a bit like kind of Tim Sale.
It does look similar. I genuinely couldn't find anything. I only looked a little bit, though, I'll be honest. I didn't spend ages on it.
Well, I mean,
But,
we do see the
it does
posters
look
and
like
stuff throughout, like, so we, it could be something to look into for, like, once we see the posters again or something, but...
It's a classic Penguin look, isn't it, with the long cigarette holder, which is funny because he spat the cigarette holder out. If you,
I love that, though. It's like, let's cultivate this image of him, which is straight out of the sort of comic books and things.
It is.
But
it is.
he doesn't look like that, and that's
He's
fantastic
going
because
full-
they don't
full
want to
bird.
show him. For real.
Full Burgess Meredith.
Yeah. But you can't show the actual Penguin's features on the posters and things because he's hideous. He's even worse than this.
But I'll also say though, like, in his response, because she says obviously, you're the coolest role model a young person could have, and then he's just not even trying to hide it, just like, oh, and you're the hottest young person a role model could have. Like, this is real, like. Dude, you can't even. The PR people will be like, "What are you doing? You can't just say that to the motherfucker."
Yeah, that would not be acceptable today.
Wait,
It
hang
wasn't
on.
acceptable back then.
Certain people are allowed to get away with it.
Well, that's the
Certain
thing.
people in power.
Strong parallel to current political situation.
Well, he's already
where we basically have the
someone's
Penguin
nose
in
off.
office.
Yeah.
he's assaulted someone.
That is a thing where I would not be surprised if it came on the news that Trump bit someone's nose off one day during the campaign, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well,
okay, he probably
he's
deserved
got
it."
he's got that go-to attitude."
But yeah, so we don't like to talk about politics on the show, even though we do pretty much every.
We have to.
No politics.
Well, he is running for mayor, so it's quite hard.
I think political discussion is somewhat accurate or applicable.
Just imagine like a deleted scene of him later just been like, "Oh, they let you grab them by the boob, and they let you." And stuff. Just gets caught on tape somewhere. That's one of the things.
Grab him by the fishy.
Oh.
But that's also a thing he
God.
says though, is like a weird thing he says is like, "Oh, here, wear button," and I never understood this because it's like, oh, I guess it's a button. There's a badge. I would call it a badge. But then he's like, wear button. Is he saying wear this button? Or is he calling it, this is a wear button? It's a button that
He
you
says
wear.
wear a button.
I always hear this
It's
wear
like
button.
the button. It's a button that turns into something else later. It's full moon and
It
wear
just sprouts
button.
hair and goes on the rampage.
George, in America, is that called a button?
It's interchangeable. Button, pin. I mean, they
Do you use
mean the same
badge?
thing. Badge is something very official. Like if it's got your photo on it and you used to have to scan it to get in something, that's a badge.
So yeah, we'd call that a badge.
Yeah.
That's a badge.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah.
Yeah, so if I were trying to swipe my way into the CIA, I would have a badge.
Okay.
That would be a pass, wouldn't it? Or
Yeah, pass.
maybe
maybe.
an ID card?
ID card too, but not pass. Pass is like what you use to get on a bus or into like the movie theater or something like that. Something more casual.
See, if I got stopped in the CIA building and someone said, "Hey, where's your badge?" and I'd be like, "Well, I haven't got any badges. It's I'm coming to work. I don't wear
You
badges."
should always be carrying Mogwai Minute badges on you.
Yeah, I should
and you
do.
just give them some merch.
I have to make some first.
I just imagine though, like you go into like the next Movies by Minutes meetup, and Neil just has the Mogwai Minute badges on him, and like some woman's like, "Oh, Mr. Brown, you're like the coolest podcasting role model," and he's just like, "Oh, here, where?" I was like,
Wear
And
a
you're
button.
the hottest role model, or your hottest
Podcaster can have.
young person the role model can have. They're
All
like,
those
that's
Movies by
wow.
Minutes groupies you get there.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just oceans of them.
Incessant.
But
Yep.
also, we should mention who this woman actually is, because she actually has quite an impressive career. This is a woman called Lisa Guerrero, and like her IMDb list isn't that impressive because she was in, like mostly sort of. Apparently, she played Francesca Vargas in a couple of hundred episodes of Sunset Beach afterwards,
Oh.
and she's also featured in episodes of Seinfeld, and she's actually in a very memorable two-parter of Frasier, where like he keeps getting answering machines from some woman on like his answering machine message thing, and then he's like, "Oh, I'll just go and meet her to let her know that she's got the wrong number, hoping he'll hook up." And when he gets there, it's at an airport, and it's Linda Hamilton, but not that she's playing some woman. But then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm married," and then while they're at the airport, he meets another woman who's this woman. And then in one of the craziest, creepiest things that you probably couldn't put in a sitcom now, where she's just like, "Oh, I'm going to Mexico. Where are you going?" And Frasier's just like, "I'm going to Mexico." And he just buys a ticket and gets on the plane with her. And everything she says, she's like, "I'm staying in this hotel." And he's just like, "That's where I'm staying too." And then the second part of it, it's them on the plane. And he explains like, "Okay, I've just bought this on because I'm trying to be romantic and do, live life to its fullest and stuff." And she's like, "You f***ing psycho, get the hell away from me."
So you're creepy as hell.
That made me think of Peep Show when Mark accidentally starts going to university just because he fancies that woman.
Oh, yeah. That's what the Peter Capaldi episode, yeah. He just shows up as a lecturer and stuff.
The Who universe converges.
Yeah.
I was just not to get I know this is dangerous territory because we will get on a Frasier kick, but
boy.
It always baffled me how many extremely attractive women Frasier Crane was able to like date on a regular basis, and you're no, stop it, 90s, stop it.
I don't want to be mean to him, but he's not the most handsome guy.
Oh, I think that's just a staple of 90s sitcoms, because even Seinfeld as well. Like George and Jerry were getting stunning people like every other week, and I was like, not a chance in
Seinfeld
hell.
Especially. And I just chalked it up to New York, but I didn't really know what the Seattle market was like as far as dating. So it was a much more of a wild, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
But he is a celebrity. Yeah. He is a celebrity in Seattle, though.
True.
He's a well-known guy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
goes a long
he does
way.
throw around that clout quite a bit too. Of like, well, I'm Dr. Frasier Crane. Like he kind of builds himself up on that. So, but though, getting back to Lisa Guerrero, outside her acting, she actually is quite like she works. She's done quite well for herself, because she started off as a cheerleader for the Los Angeles Rams, and then within a few years became the entertainment director for the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. So like she went from cheerleader
she's in
to
the football world,
running the whole thing. A couple of years later, then she co-hosted something called the Best Damn Short Sports Show Period with Tom Arnold and Michael Irvin. So she was three-person panel. She was one of the people. And like since then,
Tom Arnold.
Yeah, the
there
Tom
was
Arnold.
like it was like a comedic sports show type thing where they do commentary on stuff and like make jokes, but mostly it was like a This Week in Sports type deal.
And but then since 2006, apparently she has become the chief investigative correspondent for Inside Edition. So apparently she's on like TV every week as a proper investigative journalist and stuff. So yeah, she's done pretty well.
Good for you, Lisa Guerrero.
She also appeared in the interest of Everything's Connected. Apparently appeared in an episode of Sybil, the Sybil Shepherd sitcom, which of course co-starred Dee Dee Pfeiffer, was Michelle Pfeiffer's sister, and even kind of to the podcast closer, used to feature as Sybil Shepherd's daughter, Alicia Witt, who John's had a recent interaction with. Everything's connected.
I have.
Did you give her a T-shirt? She threw it on a chair?
That's exactly what happened. No, I dressed up as one of her characters, character from Cecil B. Demented, and I posted a picture of it on Twitter, and she liked it, shared it, and replied to me saying how amazing it was. She was so happy
That's awesome.
to see. Yeah,
And that's really cool that it's like a fun, positive interaction, not like some jackass from a movie Q&A who completely blew your show off.
But yeah, so that is Lisa Guerrero, and she's woman doing pretty well for herself in the world. Of course, now that the Penguins burst her boob, so she's, you hear subtly on the soundtrack the sound of
The deflation. It's an interesting moment next, when the penguin kind of turns around and goes up the stairs, and the big fat guy from the Red Circle gang says, "Penguin, someone's here," and he goes, "My name's not Penguin. I'm Oswald Cobblepot. I'm a man." And it's like, this is a very interesting moment, because later you get the reverse, don't you? But much later. This is him going from the penguin into a human being.
It's him he's more wrapped up now in Max Schreck's plan than his own plan.
Yes. He's wearing clothes on a regular basis, you know, and that sort of thing he's transitioning.
He has that little,
slightly.
like, oh, I'm not a supervillain. I'm just going to be a regular villain as a politician.
Yeah. Well, he does even say, you know, it's not about power. It's about reaching out to people, touching people, groping people. And that is, you know, how politicians feel on the matter.
Well, he must have been severely sex-starved for his entire life. And then all of a sudden he's getting, like, an avenue towards, you know, achieving something of his desires and fantasies.
I agree, but we do also think he's had a dalliance with the poodle lady. That's our theory.
Oh my god! At least I'm glad you said lady.
Not just
with
the
the
poodle, yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe the poodle joined in. I don't know.
Oh my god!
But notice though, as he's going up though, because you still have like this lazy clown. Because next we saw him earlier, he's just lying around on the floor too. This guy's really he's not pulling his weight.
The fat guy. And,
Maybe he's not lazy, just a fear of heights.
Yeah. He's feeling a little bit sick there as well.
Yeah.
But then we get see in the background though, like not a poster, but a big
amazing poster.
yeah, like
I love
a
that.
banner for
The four-legged duck. What the?
Come and see the amazing four-legged duck.
And then above the four-legged duck, there's this like crazed like goat.
It's like a satanic
breathing.
ram.
It's weird, isn't it? Like blowing smoke out its nostrils.
So is the act that the duck fights the goat?
I don't know. It's bizarre.
The greatest bout of all times.
Oh yeah, who will
Someday.
Maybe that's like part of the Penguin's act as well, because you know he's another kind of like freak animal.
Oh, he fights the goat.
Maybe he fights the goat. Maybe it's the 3-on-3 fight.
Maybe the goat
Four-legged
is...
duck.
The goat is the unholy union between him and the poodle lady.
Oh yes, it's their love child. They can't speak of because you're not supposed to have workplace affairs.
No, it's an HR nightmare.
That's right.
I just got the image though that maybe
right.
like the duck and the goat, they were the previous leaders of the Red Triangle gang when Oswald was growing up, and then he like
So it's a bit
usurped
like
them.
He's done away with them.
Yeah. So there's
It's a bit like a Soviet poster where you've got you've got Karl Marx, you've got Lenin, you've got Stalin. You know, it's like that kind of thing. You've got the goat, you've got the duck, you've got the penguin.
Yeah.
He'll be added to it next.
It made me think of maybe because I've been thinking about these things recently because I've recently been watching that She-Ra reboot. But it's like, it's like it's like the goat was like Horde Prime, the duck was Hordak, and Penguin is Skeletor. Because then that was the whole thing. Skeletor overthrew Hordak and stuff like that in the old lore anyway. They don't mention him in the new show because I think there's a whole thing with character rights and stuff. It's like you can't just throw in that.
Also, Skeletor's a He-Man guy, and not a She-Ra guy.
Shared universe. Shared universe, George. I must admit,
Just
I didn't think
saying.
we'd be talking about She-Ra today.
No,
But there you go.
no.
Listen, nothing is off limits, Neil.
That's true.
I think I last watched She-Ra in like 1991. So
the whole old show is now on Netflix as well. Like
Yeah, and it shows up like right side by side the new one. And I just recently watched the new one with my daughter, and we really enjoyed it. So it's good stuff.
the new one's pretty good. Pretty good.
What do you guys make of this setup he's got here? Because this is like, you know, he's got the office, right?
It feels
Which
very
is now his-
drafty.
This is now
It
his
feels
campaign.
very drafty.
He's got his campaign office downstairs, and literally one set of stairs up, he's got this weird kind of hangout, boudoir type. You know, it's really bizarre.
with no door barring entry.
Yeah.
No, just anyone could
Just
wander
up,
up there.
that spiral stair. Fun fact: do you guys know why they started putting spiral staircases in fire stations? That's kind of where they kind of got the origin. Do you know why they started putting them in fire
Oh,
stations?
right. No, because we have them over here in like old castles and things. That's why I just think of them like that. I don't know.
Because when back in the olden days, when they had horses, the horses would walk up straight stairs and get stuck on the second floor and not be able to get down.
Can they not go downstairs?
So they had to put in spiral staircases to prevent horses from climbing the stairs.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
There you go. So maybe he has a spiral staircase to prevent his horses from climbing the stairs.
That's a constant problem in Gotham. Just horses
I'm
roaming
sure it
the
is.
streets.
Yes.
It could be this.
Wild bands.
Also, four-legged ducks can't climb stairs properly either. So
That's true. That's
Oh
true.
no, I bet they climb stairs real well.
No, it's the satanic ram that you want to stop going up there.
I actually really like as well though the way when he he insists that he's now called Oswald Cobblepot. He's not the Penguin. And I like the way his gang quickly get on board with this. They're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's no dead naming going on here. They're cool with the transition.
Wasn't that also a thing in a Gotham TV show where Cobblepot's character was like, no, I'm not the Penguin, and then eventually he ended up adopting it. When he sort of leaned into the dark side a bit.
Unfortunately, you're talking to the wrong people about Gotham, George.
Never seen it.
Very, very. Well, I watched like the first couple episodes, and I was like, nah, this is not doing it for me.
I've looked up stuff about it though. So
I did the same thing. I watched the first. I'm like, okay, whatever, and I got into it later just because there was nothing else on, and it really does turn into a really good show.
Yeah, well, maybe we should try to give it another crack though. But I do know there's also stuff.
Patreon special.
There's also stuff in the show about the Penguin running for mayor and stuff in Gotham as well. But because this is alluding to a plot line in the 1960s show we already talked about. Although we should also mention as well that predominantly in those episodes, the Penguin does have groupies. Like there's these two young women who keep hanging out with him. So I'm assuming maybe the woman downstairs was actually maybe like a little allusion to like, oh yeah, he needs to have his groupies and stuff as well, like he did in the old show, and that's what they were going for with her. But
well, speaking of women though, the organ grinder here says, Oswald, there's some body here to see you.
Now, yes, he does.
There is quite a body.
He is not wrong.
It's Catwoman. It's Catwoman. But is his delivery supposed to be him basically talking about how hot her bod is?
Definitely. That's what it is. Although now,
because he really emphasizes the body.
The thing is, the way he says it though, as soon as I hear it, it's like, oh, there's somebody once told me. It's like, oh, you've been leaning too heavy on the B. It instantly goes into freaking Smash Mouth. It's like, damn it, no.
That guy's new nickname is All Star.
We thought Dave Palace was the only person cursed with that song, but no, it's gone on to everybody.
I think it's like now you're gonna have to pay him rights just because you mentioned it on the show. Like you're gonna have to give him a little check. Absolutely, that'll happen. And also, I want to point out the fact that this big old space and with the weird, I would live in this. I mean, I don't know what it is about it. I like this vibe. I would live there. Maybe a few more floor lamps so it's not as dark. But I would totally, I'd set up shop in this. I would live here. I'd be awesome.
Have you seen it, George? Look at the state of it.
I'm looking at it.
A carny or an artist, I think.
I love the weird broken slats and the hard light from outside. I think it's really cool.
It's really creepy.
I keep thinking that there could have been so many opportunities to do montages where you could have had Max Schreck, getting the Penguin dressed up in a suit and stuff. And maybe just showing them around. It's like, oh, here's all the places you could live. And then bringing them to lovely kind of Miami-looking mansions with huge swimming pools. And the Penguin no. And then eventually he gets to this big, empty, drafty, Edward Scissorhands-looking friggin' hideous room. And Max Schreck's just and then there's this one, but you wouldn't want oh, it's perfect. And
it's all set. It's Walking on Sunshine, but done in a minor key.
And the entire time, Walken keeps winking to the camera. It's I know the puns there as well, but but yeah, and we do get a shot of Catwoman on the bed, and really getting to we've seen her in the outfit and stuff before because she's been in a couple of scenes, but this is one of the times we really get to take in just how sexy.
This
she
is almost
looks.
like a reveal scene because you get the back shot where it's just her laying there, and the lighting on the costume is fantastic. It's all these diffuse big lights and these highlights and dark shadows and emphasizing their curves and the stitches and just the way it fits. It's good stuff.
There's a blur on it though, George. It's I don't know what it is. It's maybe just a little flare or something that's coming off the PVC or. I
love that though, that effect, because it makes her even more alluring and mysterious and magical.
You mean down her hip on the floor there, Neil? That's just a can light that's been it's off focus because the light's on the floor, not on her.
Oh, so it's just out of focus.
It's on focus. It's just the light. And when I say off focus, I mean it might have been spilled down a little bit more than they wanted it to. It's just spilling a bit more, but it's actually shining on the floor because you see her hip move for a second and the light doesn't move, so it's not a blur attached to her.
Okay.
But
Can you imagine being the person who had to buff up her suit to the point where those reflection came in so clear.
Oh my
like,
God.
Hold on, Miss Pfeiffer. They got like chamois cloths on her and everything, just to make sure everything's nice and shiny enough to reflect properly.
You'd have to get some people who weren't interested in her, I think, because you'd be running the risk of some kind of harassment suit.
I was like, okay, that's enough. Okay, it's fine. It's like you could actually feel the PVC heating up from the rubbing.
She's also she wears these like just below the knee high black leather boots with high heels. I gotta say, guys, those boots really do it for me.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm the same.
When you see a chick wearing those boots, by God.
Well, you get in the next minute, I think you get quite a shot of the boot.
Oh yes. Oh well, like we can save the boots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy
I
that.
just want to point out it probably took Neil a long time to write these notes because he kept having to stop and take a minute.
Have a cold shower. I mean, Oswald is very taken aback. I mean, you would be seeing her. She's laying on his bed, for God's sake. She knows what she's doing. She's playing the game.
100%.
Oh, yeah.
Although you kind of wonder, it's like, is it she's trying to allure him, or is it the fact that Miss Kitty is also with her? And the cat's on the bed, so I guess cats lay on beds, and that's what they're going for.
You don't have to lay like that with the cat, though. Come on.
Yeah,
She's a cat woman,
and
though.
you know, here's the thing: is like. Something that sort of like got to me is the fact like, oh, she's playing with her feet towards the pillow. Oh, don't do that.
Oh yeah, good point.
Just get your street foot on my pillow.
That's something that they only seem to do in movies and on television.
Because they don't actually have to sleep in that bed.
To be fair, though, I would say though, Penguin does appear to be one of these guys who has these weird throw pillows on the bed that every night you have to just remove.
It's hilarious that the bed is the only real nod to civility in this entire like yawning second store flat.
I don't understand people that do that with cushions on the bed.
No, I don't get it at all. I'm against, and those little throws as well, like the blankets you can put over, but the ones that you're not intending to use to sleep in, they're just there for visual.
That's the thing. That's what my dad does. Like
Pointless.
he insists on that. If you go stay in my dad's house, he's got like 3 or 4 layers of blankets on top of the bed that you obviously have to like discard before you can actually get into the bed. It's like, well, why do you need all
9
this?
times out of 10, I sleep with just the top sheet. So the idea of having
George,
15 blankets.
We don't want to know what your sleeping conditions.
Just trust me. You don't want to know what's under the top sheet, but the top sheet is typically what I sleep with.
Oh no, we want to hear about that.
I'm a very warm sleeper, and so I can't have.
But remember, we live in England. This place doesn't get very warm very often.
I live in Denver. Once the sun goes down, it gets cold out.
Oh, I don't know. Most of the time, sometimes I go to sleep in thermal like clothes.
You're a very thin man, though.
I am quite thin. Yes.
Well, they've got the aircon on here, I notice. Presumably Penguin likes it cold, obviously.
Well, I think she does say in
It
the next minute, doesn't she? Oh, is it this minute or the next minute? She says, like, oh, it's chilly in here.
Next one, I think. We just stops.
Yeah. And in the script, it actually does state that he's got, I think, 2 air cons running at the same time, pointing at the bed.
Oh, he's like you then, George.
That sounds about right for me.
He's a hot sleeper as well. You and the Penguin.
He's hot blooded.
Well, you don't get air cons really in England, so yeah, we haven't got that option.
It's like you guys would be terrible penguins if you tried to be them because you just
it's cold enough. God damn it.
I say this winter though has been weird so far because if I put on the radiator here, like the room will be blazing hot within seconds. But then, like at nighttime, obviously you have it off the whole night. Then you wake up, it's absolutely freezing. So you have to go turn on the radiator, go back to bed, and another hour later you wake up. Oh crap! I've got to turn off this radiator now because it's absolutely boiling in here. It's like you can't win. You can't win in this. Well, in this flat anyway, you can't. And it seems to only get hotter as the radiator somehow is gathering more strength as the day goes by. It's crazy.
Yeah,
its powers are doubling.
I do feel like he would be someone who put out a lot of body heat, even if he is a penguin who like swims around. That's probably why he swims around in cold water because he's just so hot natured.
Well, there's a whole thing actually, because this is the only real illusion we get to in this version of the movie that like, oh, the penguin likes it cold. We can assume that all those things behind the shutters aren't, or like maybe open windows and stuff as well. Like he's got all the windows open. But in the original Dan Waters draft, the original Sam Hamm draft, they had a much more obvious that, like, oh, he likes like sub-zero temperatures. It was his first meeting with Catwoman.
See, but then you do that too much, and you start pushing into Mr. Freeze territory, where it's like it's over the top cold. It's like, ice to meet you.
To be fair, though, the Penguin did it first. Like in the comics, the Penguin is always like, oh yeah, he lives in igloos
and they did it right. It was understated. It was silly, but it was at the same time. It was like, he's a penguin. Of course he's gonna do that. Not like, I live in a robot suit.
Right? Yeah. It was just how he likes it.
In that draft, though, how he meets Catwoman is that she's been hired to steal this statuette for him. Because the whole thing, and that's all about them trying to get these little bird models and stuff. It's not a great plot line, to be fair. But she steals it. Like, you're introduced to Catwoman. She steals it from like these guys at a dock, and then she goes to meet the Penguin. And there's a whole big thing where like he's swimming in this giant ice pool, and then he has to be hauled out by his two henchmen. And then when Catwoman meets him, she comes in, and it's like all the windows are wide open. There's supposed to be like snow and ice everywhere in the room, and he's feeding the birds wearing like this little kind of like kimono-esque kind of very, very thin dressing gown and nothing else. And it's just like, thankfully we didn't have to see that with the DeVito's.
It's closed with a It's delicately closed with a campaign pen.
Although the thing is, though, if you look into some of the behind the scenes stuff, you can get DeVito in this suit or somebody wearing this suit without the clothes on. And there's nipples and stuff.
Ooh.
Like it's they splashed out. For some reason
they did that first too. Take that, Schumacher.
For some reason they're like, you'll never see this bodysuit on screen, but we need to put the nipples on them just in case someone might see them through his friggin' shirt and waistcoat at some point.
And you want to be taking on that character. You want to feel like you are that character. And nipples are
and that character's nipples.
Exactly. It's all about the nipples with characterization. It's a little known fact about acting.
No, because you act through your nipples.
Yes.
It's that simple.
And you lacked through your nipples as well.
Do that too.
I know DeVito did apparently.
Tape.
He kept one of his big things apparently was that apparently this suit weighed over like 100 pounds. And when he put it on...
that's a lot of nipples.
It's all in the nipples.
But apparently he kept saying that. People kept going like, oh, he must be like really miserable wearing that. And apparently DeVito was like, oh yeah, it's absolutely horrible, but I'm using it. I'm channeling it into the character. So that's why the Penguin's so grumpy all the time. It's because Dan DeVito is genuinely angry about having to wear this suit.
He's got 25-pound nipples.
Well, I mean, if this was your body, you would be struggling the way Danny DeVito is, so it makes sense.
Yeah, you would.
You can barely walk.
But because we keep almost dipping into stuff that's in the next minute, so I guess should we wrap this episode up and proceed onwards?
There's one more thing.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Possibly the most explicit line yet.
Ooh.
And I can't believe they were allowed to keep it in.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, my God, how did I forget that?
Basically, yes. The Penguin, taken aback by Catwoman here, says, just the pussy I've been looking for. Oh my, that's very extreme.
Again, though, when I was a kid, all this was just like, whatever.
She's a cat.
Yeah. But now it's like, how the hell did anyone get away with this? Like, how did anyone take their kids out of this and be like, oh, this seems fine?
I find it hilarious that you guys are like, oh, he says this so explicitly. When over in England, you guys use like every other word.
Yeah, but not
you can't say that, George. Jesus.
You call your friends, but yeah, that's just British culture.
On the kid show, although you always do get like in kid shows, you'd have like crinkly bottom and things like that when they try to work in little...
Did you just reference Noel's house party?
That was the one I was thinking. There's always things in British kids' TV shows where they'll mention something about, like...
What's a crinkly bottom?
It's when you've been in the bath too long. You get a crinkly bottom.
Can we talk about Mr. Blobby now, please?
Well, him and the Penguin do share a lot of similarities.
Pussy is more used in the UK, like, you know, like you call someone a pussy because, like, you know, they're chicken or something, you know, like,
that's what.
It's not like
what was though?
We don't really use pussy a lot in reference to.
What's the sitcom though?
The Vagina.
Open All Hours. With used to, cause I never watched it, but I know it has like a high society woman who constantly refers to her pussy.
Pussy.
Yeah, and the whole running joke is that people keep thinking she's talking about her genitalia
Yes,
when she's talking
it
about her
is.
cat and stuff.
I would like to point out that the term pussy, meaning weak-willed or callow, is derived from the word pusillanimous, not for the shortened version of cat.
Oh.
Is it?
Yes.
Ah, okay. I
So
admit,
when they
assumed it was-
conflate the two, it's just because. So I think the actual slang word for the woman's vagina came from the dance hall days back in the old times, because they had to shave in order to prevent pubic lice from spreading.
Ah.
But guys liked it, so they would put like fake on there, and sometimes they would put like cats and stuff on there, and so they like show us your cat, and then it became to show us your pussy, and they would flap the dresses and stuff.
Oh, see, I assumed it was like a sexist thing, I'll be honest, because, you use it to say someone's weak or whatever. I thought maybe it was like...
It's like one's derived from one word and the other's derived from a social thing, but they at some point they overlapped. It just became synonymous for the same thing.
See, now, like, I feel like, because in recent years, I've avoided calling people pussies when I'm trying to say that they're weak-willed, because it's like, oh, it's a sexist term. It's derived from, back in the day.
But its original term is not sexist. It is a literary.
So that's the thing now.
reference,
I can use it.
Now you
without
can just call it
abandon.
like all the time. Exactly. Just let it fly.
It's like anytime a guest says like, "Oh no, I can't make it," I'm like, "You fucking pussy," and listen to episode 67 of Returns and explain why that's not sexist.
It's like, this is my podcast and find out.
Well, I have a cat question before we do depart. Why has she brought her cat with her?
Well, that's the thing. 'Cause
She's a good cat
It's
mom.
a lovely cat, though, isn't it?
But you don't,
Beautiful
you don't
cat.
bring it with you on like a mission.
I'm starting to see though, there's a lot more of Miss Kitty in this movie than I recall. Because Miss Kitty is literally she keeps popping up. It's almost as if like she's almost like the power behind the throne or something. That like maybe Miss Kitty,
Yeah.
she was the first cat on the scene when Selena was thrown out the window, and even at the end of the movie too, it's like it's Miss Kitty that Bruce picks up. So it's like, oh, maybe Miss Kitty's like
spoilers.
Maybe she's like Selena is dead and Miss Kitty has inhabited her body or something, and now she's going around as Catwoman.
Selena's body is moving, but her soul resides in Miss Kitty, and so Miss Kitty is like her Horcrux avatar.
It's like
type
a
person.
familiar, right? Like it's a little,
Oh,
buddy.
there you go. Much like
That's why she has so many lives, because you have to kill the cat, not her, in order to kill her.
oh, there you go.
We're onto this movie.
Yep.
But the thing is, though, because now you're like, oh yeah, witches familiar remind you of like, oh, like in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, they have the rebooted version. Salem the cats are familiar, although in the old show the 90s show that I grew up on.
That's old now, Niall.
That's the thing. There's in the new version, not one allusion to that old show. I was like, what? Not even a little bit. But I would have loved though of Miss Kitty was a talking cat who was literally just like. Every scene of Catwoman by herself was Nick Piquet with a puppet giving a little sassy back talk to Catwoman.
I wanted to have like a mad voice. Yeah, let's get him, boss.
My favorite one is Clarion the Witch Boy in Young Justice. Have you guys seen Young Justice?
Oh no, I've not actually watched it. No.
I have not yet.
The older ones, I haven't seen the new re-release one.
You got to get onto Young Justice. It's a great series, and Clarion the Witch Boy is one of the.
No, Young
frequent
Justice
baddies
is
that
great,
pops up.
but like whatever the new one that is he the one that's kind of like he's got the dark hair?
Yeah, and he's got the little cat. And
Yeah, I know
he's
you're
got
talking
the
about
little-
now.
Yeah, he's got the little horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a great voice. I don't know who voices him, but yeah, check that out, guys. Clarion the Witch Boy.
Yeah, Young Justice is good. I'll second Neil on that one.
Ooh, good recommendation there.
Just
Write it
don't
down,
second.
Niall.
Just don't second that emotion, George.
I'm gonna do it, Neil. I'm gonna do it.
No.
I was just waiting for a
What's wrong?
situation though where like Neil's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm very upset," and then George will be like, "I am upset also." I second that emotion. You're like, "Oh, you can't even say anything now."
Like
You
it's
finally
actual,
used it correctly.
it's the appropriate response.
You actually used it correctly once. Wow.
Thank God.
But anywho, I guess we can wrap up this episode of.
Yes, it's running on somewhat. As usual.
It tends to happen.
Yes. So before we do head off into the dark night, would you two like to tell everyone where they can find your wonderful show and yourselves even online?
Go for it, Neil.
Go and check us out on the Mogwai Minute. We do the same thing as John and Niall do before the movie Gremlins, and we're currently partway through Gremlins 2, the new batch. So go check that out wherever you find your podcasts and on social media.
Your
We've
intrepid
got some
Jonathan was
links.
on a couple weeks ago, and to great critical reception. Him and Lal crushed it, and it was awesome, and they had a good time with him.
Hey, oh, thank you very much. Thank you. It was great to be on.
Even though John will
love
never
the
listen to
movies.
his minutes, he was great.
No, I've listened to every other episode you've ever done, but I won't listen to myself under, I'll say any circumstances. I've listened to about 3 ever, and that was enough. I think I called it quits after that.
Right. And Niall was on series 1.
Yeah.
A couple of
Here's
episodes on season 1.
Yeah.
So that's great.
I'm in there.
Anyway, yes, if you would like to get in touch with us in the meantime, you know by now, we're everywhere. We're on Facebook at the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave, and we're on Twitter at Bat-Minute. And be nice to us, be nice. Give us a review on iTunes. That's always nice to do. Be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice, or I'm coming for you.
No,
I'm coming.
that over the line. HR, call HR.
So if you don't, I'm going to come, I'm going to smash your place up, and you won't be able to listen to the next episode on Wednesday. But if you do, then join us again then on Wednesday for minute 65 of Batman Returns.
Next time, Holy Fishy Philanderer. A duo with dynamism is finally formed as the Penguin offers a pussy a chance to get warm. But while the cat finds this leering far from endearing, will it conclude in a criminal concoction that the Bat should be fearing? Find out Wednesday. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.